Now, tonight I have the distinct pleasure of presenting the campaign's Progressive Champion Award to Senator Elizabeth Warren. Let's be clear, no one better exemplifies the straight-talking, truth-telling, bankster-busting, kick-ass leadership that we desperately need in this city than Elizabeth Warren. You know, she's been in Congress barely more than 2 years, and she already has a wing of the Democratic Party named after her. How do you do that? And in the contest between the Warren wing of the party and the Wall Street wing, I think we know which side we stand on. So how does a thoughtful, scholarly, former law professor specializing in bankruptcy law become a national progressive champion? How does a freshman minority senator in a dysfunctional Congress create a platform that has people by the millions following her and listening to her? It takes a very special leader. You have to have vision. And from her first speech at her first Democratic convention ever in 2012, Elizabeth Warren has done just that. In that speech, she took on the easy lie that globalization and technology, anonymous forces, are the reason we suffer extreme inequality and declining wages. She said, no, that's not right. The reason is that the rules are rigged, and we're going to change that. She didn't just name the game. She laid it out, and she showed how the deck was stacked, and then she put out the elements of a fair deal and invited people to join her in that fight. Secondly, you have to be fearless and feared. You know, Americans know this town is corrupted. They see politicians as mostly responding to their donors and not their voters. They're desperate for champions who will stand up with them and for them and argue their case. And Elizabeth Warren does just that. She challenges the banks that are too big to fail, the global corporations that distort our trade policies, the revolving door that neuters our regulatory agencies, the big money that corrupts our politics. She is a fiercely effective senator in hearings, in inquiries, in taking on the arrogant, and in exposing what's going down. She is fearless and feared. Third, you have to build a movement. Great leaders understand that movements drive change, and they use their energy and their creativity to help rouse people and get them to move, and Elizabeth Warren does just that. She showed that even before she came to the Senate. She built a popular demand for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and it rolled the hesitations in the White House, the caution of the Democratic senators, and a $1 million a day lobby from Wall Street, and managed to bring that agency into being. And in its few short years of life, it has already returned $10 billion, that's with a B, $10 billion to Americans from credit card frauds and other financial scams. Finally, you have to have heart. Elizabeth Warren is a tireless tribune. She sets the pace in area after area. Expand Social Security, don't cut it. Why can't students borrow at the same rates banks do and make college affordable for everybody? Make the investments needed to rebuild America. That's how we build a broad middle class after World War II. Let's do it again and create the new sustainable economy, capture the lead in the green industrial revolution, and make the society work once more for everyone. She is now one of our leading advocates, and the Warren wing of the Democratic Party, as Roger said, is driving the national political debate. Vision, fearlessness, intelligence, heart, she's the real deal. We are honored to celebrate your leadership, Senator Warren, and we are pleased to be in the trenches with you, and we are happy to have your back. Give it up for Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Take back my life song, prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on, starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll fight my fight song, and I don't really care if nobody else believes.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate the very kind introduction. Thank you, Roger. I love you too. Thank you, Sally. I love the notion we are popular. You bet. You bet. I really do, though. I want to thank Bob. I want to thank Roger, not only for the kind introduction, not only for this honor tonight, but I want to thank you both for your friendship, for your good advice, and for the critical work that Campaign for America's Future does to fight for working families. Thank you. We are all in your debt. We are all in your debt. I also want to take a chance to congratulate Lily Eccleston Garcia, Scott Wallace, and National People's Action. You know, it is a real honor to share this evening with people so deeply committed to fighting for our children, for our planet, for justice, for accountability, and for a level playing field. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you. So I gotta say, I love coming to Campaign for America's Future. This is my kind of party. It's true, a room full of old friends, a room full of new friends, smart, strong, proud progressives who are ready to fight for what we believe in. Yeah. You are the ones. You are the ones who are out on the front lines in cities and in towns across this country. You are the ones who are pushing back against radical attacks by right-wing talking heads. You are the ones who are putting the wind in our sails for the causes and the campaigns that we need to build a real future in this country. And here is the heart of what we're fighting for. We believe that the real strength in this country starts with people. And no, corporations are not people. We should not be running this country for corporations. We need to run this country for people. The economy grows when hardworking families have a chance to improve their lives. The country gets stronger when we invest in helping people succeed. Our lives improve when we reach out to our neighbors. We are tired of a game that's rigged for the rich and the powerful. For progressives, it's about having a fighting chance, not just for some of us, but for all of us. Now wait. I hear them. Yes, I hear them. I hear the naysayers. I hear the lobbyists. I hear the PR machines, the political pundits, the talking heads, the well-greased politicians, and the oh-so-important experts who write off our values as too liberal, too unrealistic, and just not mainstream. They have spent millions of hours and billions of dollars to help build a fortress, and that fortress is named Insider Washington. Now, this is a Washington. I like this group over here. This is a Washington where everything works wonderfully for those with money and power. They have built the ultimate cozy, comfy game that is rigged for the insiders. It is the Washington where, despite all the down-home television ads during the election season, the values of the American people are mostly ignored. I want to talk about Insider Washington for just a minute. Insider Washington watched yet another tragic school shooting in Oregon early this month, and it heard the country's calls for common sense gun reform. And then it cowered in front of the NRA and did nothing. Insider Washington watched as the economy crashed and heard the country call for accountability and for bankers who broke the law to be sent to jail, and then passed lobbyist-written laws once again did Wall Street's bidding. Insider Washington, what's it about? It's about a tax on women's health care. Insider Washington, it's about denying the science of climate change. Insider Washington, it's about labeling any idea with a hint of spunk or ambition as radical and outside the mainstream. So I thought this would be a good chance tonight to remind Insider Washington, you are wrong. America is a progressive country. Insider Washington does not represent America. In fact, when it comes to the economy, when it comes to building a future, Americans across this country know the direction we should head. And if we give them a chance, that's exactly where they will go. So let's look at some basic facts. Last November, when Democrats across the country had a really terrible election day, four Republican states voted to raise their minimum wage. In South Dakota, 55% of voters supported a minimum wage increase. In Nebraska, 59%. In Arkansas, 66%. And in Alaska, 69%. Now that shouldn't surprise anyone, because 70% of Americans across this country support an increase in the federal minimum wage to at least $10.10 an hour. So here's how I see it. Republicans may vote to keep workers in poverty, but on minimum wage, the American people are progressives. You bet. Progressives believe that students shouldn't be crushed by debt and the federal government should not make a profit on student loans. And so do 73% of Americans. Now, Washington Republicans may vote to crush students with high-cost debt, but on student loans, the American people are progressives, and debt-free college sounds pretty good to them. You bet. Progressives believe that people should be able to take care of sick children and parents without being afraid they will lose their jobs. And so do 80% of Americans. Yeah. Washington Republicans may pander to their big business pals, but on paid sick leave, the American people are progressives. That's what we have to remember. Progressives believe that millionaires and billionaires should pay the same taxes as their secretaries, and so do 2/3 of Americans. Washington Republicans may support special tax breaks for the rich and the powerful, but on tax fairness, the American people are progressives. Progressives believe that after a lifetime of hard work, people deserve to retire with dignity. And that means a commitment to strengthening Social Security. And 79% of likely voters agree with us. So Washington Republicans may try to cut benefits, but on Social Security, the American people are progressives, and they are ready to take on the retirement crisis in this country. Progressives believe that powerful corporations and billionaires have far, far too much influence over our politics, and their stranglehold over our government rigs the game. And nearly 3/4 of Americans agree with them. So Washington Republicans may cozy up to their billionaire sugar daddies, but on campaign finance reform, the American people are progressives. Yeah. I could do this for a long time, and I may. Progressives believe that Wall Street needs stronger rules and tougher legal enforcement, and that 5 years after Dodd-Frank, it's time to stop pretending and really end too big to fail. Yeah, let's pass Glass-Steagall. And 79% of Americans believe Wall Street should be held accountable with tougher rules. So Washington Republicans may be willing to let the biggest banks break our economy again, but on Wall Street reform, the American people are progressives. And I want to make one last point on this, one very important point. Progressives believe it shouldn't take poll numbers or shocking, sickening videos of unarmed African Americans slammed out of their desks or cut down by bullets to wake up to what is still happening to people of color in this country. Yes. Washington Republicans may cower in the shadow of Donald Trump, but the American people understand. Black lives matter, Black citizens matter, Black families matter. That's right. To build an economy that creates real opportunity, to build an economy where every citizen enjoys conditions of freedom, America must prove that on equality and justice, the American people are progressives. So I don't care what Insider Washington says. They can be oh so sophisticated, and they can tell us how our ideas are too progressive, too far left, just not realistic. But we have news for Insider Washington. The American people are progressives. Our values are America's values, and America's values are progressive values. Yeah. So look, we got to make changes, and I get it. Change, big change, isn't easy. For too long, this country has been run for the rich and the powerful. Corporations have been treated better than people. Change isn't easy, but change is possible. We know that because we have seen David beat Goliath before. You know, Bob mentioned it. We know it because we lived it together. Campaign for America's Future, you and I, we got out and we fought to get the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau passed into law, and we won. And we won. And as Bob said, that little agency, it's been up and running for just over 4 years now. It has already forced the biggest financial institutions in this country to return not $10 billion, it's now more than $11 billion directly to people they cheated. That's real change. That's making government work for the people. Change, we saw it this year when marriage equality and the Affordable Care Act became the law of the land, and when Confederate flags came down in South Carolina. Yes, change, progressive change is possible. So I am very proud to be here tonight. This is a great honor. But I want to close by saying this was never about me. This is about all of us. It's about all of us working together, deciding to stand up and fight for our values, to fight for who we are as a people, to fight for the kind of future we will be proud to build. Being here tonight with you reminds me I am not alone in this. The people in this room are fighters. You are tough, you are resourceful, you are creative, and most of all, you believe in building a future, not just for some of our kids, but for all of our kids. Together, that's how we're going to make a real difference. Thank you. Good night. Thank you.
Take back my life.